High School, February 26, 2004. It is 6:02 p.m. Discussion of tonight's agenda. Any discussion on tonight's agenda? Item 3, discussion of consent items.
Very quickly, I'll just cover the consent agenda items. As always, 5C's fundraisers, those are, the board had approved earlier last year that those could be approved at school level. Those are for your, just for your information. You've got the recurring ones, 6A minutes, 6B financial statements, claims, superintendent expenditures. 6C travel, please take note there. There's several trips on there, out of state or overnight. 6F, use of facilities. Miss Bath County Scholarship Pageant and Special Needs Camp of Kentucky are requesting the use of our facilities. 6G is the review of financial reports. And 6H is the request to pay bills through the end of the month. Those are the consent agenda items.
On all the out-of-state travel, our booster clubs, they've got all their monies in order and everything to pay for their trips. Everything's in good order.
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Any other comments on the consent items? Item 4, discussion of Bath County District Facilities Plan as presented by the Bath County Local Planning Committee and as approved by Kentucky Department of Education Facilities Branch, approving Paul Christie, field representative for the Kentucky School Plant Managers Association, as hearing officer for the Bath County Board of Education, setting a date and location for local public hearing.
On your tables, to the right, there's a facility plan there. That is the draft. I'll talk about Mr. Christie first. Mr. Christie, we have employed him to do the facilities plan, which he has. Part of that is to have a hearing if this board approves the draft plan. So that's a simple, when we get to the regular sessions, that's just a simple approval. And Mr. Ruiz from Ross Terran Architects is here. He also has been working on the facilities plan to go over the facilities plan itself with you all.
So if you each have a copy in front of you, the main pieces I'll focus on are priority. You can't hear
Jonathan, one second.
Okay.
Can you turn him up, Brad, please? No, it's the volume. He'll adjust it. You'll do some tests there for us.
Okay. Now good? It's now good? Okay. So in the draft in front of you, this is what was voted by the LPC as an approved form and what has been shared with KDE for initial reactions. It's also incorporated KDE comments for what needs to adjust. Beginning with priority number 1, which are projects that would be focused on your first 2 years of your next 4-year plan. The LPC voted to put the middle school, a new middle school, as number 1, and then addressing a couple of things at OES and Crossroads, things being existing systems as roofing or water drainage at OES, as well as adding canopies. And then at Crossroads, a few maintenance items on the foundation and sidewalk upheaval that was reported at the building, and adding new canopies. So the first 2 years, those would be your 3 projects. Going to the next page, your final 2 years of your 4-year plan begins to repeat every so often just because of how KDE likes to organize its projects. So you'll see OES or Crossroads or the high school listed several different times, but that is ultimately to help classify certain areas of renovation. The main piece I want to draw your attention to is item 2A, new construction, number 3. Number 3 was an interesting piece that KDE wanted to make sure the board and the LPC was aware of, where it mentions renovating existing spaces so that you could add additional classrooms and computer classrooms and resource rooms. That is a comment where we couldn't recommend adding on to the building to make those spatial needs be satisfied. KDE said that the school was already large enough that you couldn't add on to it, so they are challenging the district to find existing classroom spaces or what we're going to consider LAVEX spaces potentially, and reallocating those into new classrooms or other classroom needs. So if the school was a little bit smaller, you would be allowed to add on to make 6 classrooms appear and additional resource rooms. But because the school is too large for the population you currently have, they're going to require that you renovate interior spaces so that you can add more classrooms. I know it's kind of a weird way to describe that, but does that make sense for the high school portion?
And so that everyone's clear, when they say we have too much space, they do not count CTE programs
Correct.
in this. So our culinary, our nursing, everything that's in our building that's a CTE, in their mind would be like an empty space, even though
Correct.
there's kids in it. So it's talking about additional classrooms for your core content areas.
That's correct, yes. So beyond that, OES, Crossroads, and the high school have organized different projects, if you will, whether you're constructing classroom spaces for OES under item 2A1, where you have major renovations and a construction portion of a project. Following that, you have Crossroads, where you have a handful of renovations and constructing things. When you get to 3, it has to be a full-on renovation, and you're not allowed to add on to the high school according to KDE's recommendations. From there, item 2C takes another portion of the high school. Because of the age of the gym, it has to be broken out separately than from older parts of the building, so that's why that's listed. As you go to the next page, item 2E talks about the other sections of OES and the high school. And then 2F is special because it has to specialize and focus on handicap accessibility requirements for the building. All to say, OES and Crossroads and the high school are well accounted for along your last 2 years of your plan. They're just divided up depending on how KDE likes to classify certain renovations for your buildings. Then you get to priority 4, and it talks about your non-school buildings, so your request for a new central board office, a new bus garage, and new maintenance garage and central storage building. Then you'll see a district need total. That's when the Kentucky Board of Education approves this final DFP, which is the last step of the process. They will report to the state that there's about $64 million need for the district for all of its schools and all of its admin management buildings. It doesn't account for athletics or anything that they would consider to be like discretionary funding needs, but everything listed above that bold district need row, all those costs from page 1 to there is a total of $64,399,832 of a reported district need to the state. Lastly, when you flip to the last page, that's where you list your discretionary projects. Oftentimes, that is for your athletics or other miscellaneous projects that you know don't account for a school or a management building. So those are basically your leftover items that are wants for the district, but they're not reported as a need for capital construction to the state. And for that, you see athletics to the, or the high school fieldhouse stadium complex, so to update what you currently have now and include more locker rooms, concessions, and improved bleachers, as well as a fieldhouse. Similarly, some softball, baseball, soccer, and tennis courts. And then the last piece being the demolition, potentially. You don't have to do any of these things. They're just there in case you do want to. But potentially demolishing the current central storage building. All to say, everything listed in here, you are not required to do. They're just your suggested plans to the state that should you want to do any of these things, the state has already approved that you are able to do them when the time comes. If there's something here that's not listed, like creating a new alternative school. Like I know you have, I think, the Second Chance Academy, that's a virtual program. Say you wanted to make it a permanent physical building, you plan on buying a building and making it an alternative school. If it's not listed on here, KDE is going to want you to do a finding to this report and add it. So just like you want to add an alternative school in the future, if there's anything regarding your school centers altogether that isn't reported in here, KDE is going to want you to have it listed in here at some point in the future. And for that, I'll pause for questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
In the event that we can't do new construction on the middle school, it's not on here, we have to do renovation, what does that do to this?
So for renovation to happen, KDE is likely going to want you to reconvene the LPC and say to add a renovation of the middle school instead of new construction. However, going that far ahead, KDE is going to fight you on spending any more money because of the need for that building. They have a limit of 80% of what it would cost to build new, that once you hit that 80% threshold of a new building, they say don't spend any money on this building. All to say, I looked it up today, the current need for the building for both updating your systems and adding new classrooms that are missing from the building, the current needs $21,200,000, and to build new, it's 25, or I think it listed on there. To build new, as listed on item 1A, it's 25 million. 80% of that is 20 million. So we just missed it by $1 million that they're going to fight you on any kind of updates to that building because they feel it is beyond the responsible allocation of funds at that point.
So KDE probably wouldn't approve renovation.
Correct. And once you do start touching bits and pieces of the building, now they can't say no to life safety items or accessibility items. Like that's a no starter. They'll allow you to do that. But the roof, for example, if you start to only focus on the roof or the roof and the HVAC system, KDE is going to make you wait before you can touch that part of the building for maybe 30 years. So if you can't do all of it and they allow you to do bits and pieces, they're going to start to have a time limit on when you can revisit that same section again. So if renovation is required, they're going to make you revisit this through a finding process, revise it to say renovation, and then whatever they do allow you to do, and again, the needs are beyond the threshold that they are recommending, so whatever small things you can do, they're going to then put a 30-year clock on the next time you can touch that part of the building again. So, complicates, but.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. My question is, on a new construction, I've had a lot of comments and people have told me that they are not interested in a modern appearing building. So is there anything to stop us from architecturally constructing a building with the same historic appearance?
No. So the rendering that was shared, that was just to show what could be. I totally understand that with any other construction project, we would include the input from the board and from the principal and the local community about like what is important to show there. And moving forward with that project, we would definitely start from the very beginning and not say this is what it was from the rendering perspective, but we'll start from the very start, being what is important to keep, what's important to redo, what's important to add. So short answer is yes, there's a way to make it look similar to what's there in a new construction, yes.
Yeah, I think the columns and the front entrance and the windows that are older appearing are very important.
Yeah, now the tricky part about the columns or maintaining the existing structure or features of the building is if the columns are clearly falling apart or decaying, we would spend part of the funds to recreate what's there. So it won't be a guarantee that the exact same windows are staying or the exact same, feature, whatever that is staying, but that if it's important to keep the window sizes the right size, the impression of a column entry point or the two-story kind of canopy look, well, then we will make sure that's implemented in the design.
That was my point. Thank you. Thank you, Bart.
A couple things. Just so everyone knows what Mr. Ruiz has to use, that KD gives him a formula. And so when he says 21 million in need or 25 for a new building, that's grossly under the actual, what it would cost.
That's correct.
Because they give him a formula per square feet.
Yes.
And so we're really looking at more like 31, 32 million.
Correct.
And also to what Ms. Holder said, they can create that building to look exactly the way it was. The rendition, and it has worked effectively, was to get discussion going on in the community, and there's plenty of discussion. So love it or hate it, people are talking about our school building, and that's a good thing. And then in the school facilities plan, I found it no less than 4 times in there that says if it's over 80%, you must build new. And so is there a way that they might cut us a little slack? Possibly. But you also have to think, I understand this building, everybody loves it, but if you put $20 million into something that's already crumbling, decaying, it's like putting a new engine in a very old car.
Yeah.
And so when we get finished, we're still going to have issues. So what we need to come to grasp with is either some people said, why don't you go out and buy it and just buy some land and put a new building? Well, land's going to cost you $5 to $10 million after you grade it, survey it, plus another $32 million so you're looking at 42 or 50 million. Then somebody said, why don't you take the high school, make that your middle school? Well, high school's going to cost more than the middle school.
Yeah.
And so this board is in a pickle. So what people understand that it's either going to be we're going to have to build new. If we say, well, we're going to build new somewhere else, we're still going to have a building that has $21 million worth of issues. And I've told people, it'll become a storage facility because at some point kids will not be able to be in it, and it'll just become our central storage facility, and it will continue to decay. Mm-hmm. So the best thing I believe we could do, if the money nickel passes, I hope it does, is we can if the people want it, put one that looks exactly the way on the outside, the front, but the kids and the staff have the opportunity to be an up-to-date, modern, issue-free building. So thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments?
I do want to wait one other, and I apologize. I have been in contact since I've been here. I just want to let some of the public know that I am 100%, Crossroads needs canopies. And so we fought in this DFP, didn't fight, it was a good group, I don't mean it like that, but we ensured, there's a better word, that canopies are in the 1A at the top of the priority list. And so as soon as the middle school's done, as superintendent, I would be asking the board, Crossroads needs canopies. Crossroads needs canopies. The kids are walking in the rain. So that would be the next thing that I'd have on my personal list. And I just want to let people know I haven't forgotten. I care about the kids, and I'm working on it. Thank you.
One last piece I'll mention, just clarity on costs on the DFP. Just know that that's not a bid saying that it will cost OES $1.3 million under item 1C for them to renovate. That is a projected, again, KDE number to do the items listed like roofing replacement, rainwater drainage improvements, sanitary sewer, sanitary waste, storm sewer, and site lighting upgrades. All the costs on here are what KDE is reporting would be a generous or general kind of replacement of things. It doesn't account for what kind of existing system you have and how much that exact system is to replace it, or if you want to change it from, say, I think you currently have like a plastic roof or a PVC roof on OES. Am I wrong? I'm sorry. But if you want to go with a metal roof, that's clearly going to be a different cost number. Just saying, you are not tied to these being the number of cost you need to budget for your projects. They're just a ballpark for what KDE likes to report to the state using standard cost per square foot, so that all the schools and all the school districts have a relative comparable renovation cost, and not saying that, you know, Bath County High School or Bath County Schools has to budget $64 million in renovation. It would likely be a lot higher than that. It's just trying to show a general idea to the state that as a district, you all needing about $65 million, comparing that to the other districts at a kind of uniform standard, inaccurate but comparable estimate for the legislature. In case you saw construction costs and you thought it would be $25 million for middle school, it's not. I promise you, it's nowhere near. But that's what KDE requires us to use for the cost numbers that you see on the DFP. And with that, I'll leave you all to it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 5, discussion of COP for PR-05 and PR-06, credit for power to rooms 214 and 215, and welding booth accessories credit, construction update of the high school renovation and the Chenault building renovation.
I'll let David begin with the updates, and then I'll go into the proposal request pricing.
Well, if I may, I'd like to give you just a little handout of some photos of what we've done this last. All right, thank you.
Mr. Rhodes, 1 second. Brad's going to pull up some pictures there. Could you turn Mr. Rhodes up as well? Just seems like we're in a cave tonight. Mr. Rhodes, would you mind saying something so see if we can hear you?
Oh, testing 1, 2.
Thank you.
Are we
Thank
good?
you.
All right. The high school, we worked the last 30 days. We hooked up the HVAC unit for the media center. The contractors, they have completed the punch lists, and the media center was turned over to the school on the 29th of January. And so that was good to get that done. Now, we started phase 3. We're about 25 days behind on this phase. Due to not having access to the rooms, the reason we didn't have access to the rooms because we were over in the Lavec, over the Chenault building, trying to get that opened up. So certainly we have no issues, and hopefully the staff at the high school, hopefully working well with them. But anyway, we have started, and we started installing the new duct in phase 3, and started the installation of the sprinkler lines in phase 3. And then we got a lot of work scheduled for spring break when that comes up around the 1st of April, I assume. But we'll continue working, doing demolition work, and starting with the HVAC, fire protection, and electrical. And then, but anyway, a lot of work scheduled for spring break, summer work. And on Chenault, we've turned the classroom areas over to the school to start moving into items out of the shop. We did that on the 19th of January, and then turned the classroom section of the building over for use on the 12th of February. We finished all the punch list items in that area. We started the duct work in the wood shop, in the woodworking shop, installed the makeup air system in the exterior and the exterior ducts. We started to installation of the dust collection system for the wood shop, and we started demolition of the old welding booths. Started installing gas lines for shop units and makeup air, and started the steel support systems for the shop units and hoods. Next month, we hope to finish the shop duct systems. We hope to install the shop electrical conduit and raceways, install the air lines in the welding shop, install gas lines to the boiler, finish the duct system and dust collection system, and start painting in the shop areas. We're way ahead in this on the Chenault building. Matter of fact, Mr. White, our project manager, he thinks sometime in April we'll be finished, totally finished with the Chenault facility. So we're well pleased with the progress, and certainly thank the staff and Ms. Brandenburg and all of them involved to make this project successful. And we're even though we started behind in phase 3, we'll see, but hopefully we can catch up, make up some time during the demolition phase. And while I'm up here, we did receive the pricing back on the entrance, that we've been discussing, and it's we just got the final numbers in. Jonathan and I will be reviewing that and try to report back to you. It is around $300,000, substantially more than what we thought, but we'll come back and give you a report and see if you want to proceed, or we just want to leave as is or do something else, and go as the original plan. But give us till the next board meeting, and we'll give you all the information you need to make that decision. All right.
Hey, David?
Yes, I'll
I'd like
entertain.
to ask you a question about this, the floor in the ag, it says the FFA.
Yes.
The Bath County FFA, can you see it? It's blue like the floor tile. Can you see it better actually than you can in this picture?
Let's see.
You see what I'm talking about?
She's talking about in person. Does it look,
Right. Oh, I see. Bath County. Well, it's in the eye of the ball. I don't know. Hey, we'll give you a tour, and you come in there and look at it. I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure it's too late to change it now, but the lettering, the blue lettering is the same color as the stripe on the floor.
Now, I see what you're saying, but was that? I hate to ask a question.
is that,
I should
is that a
know.
vinyl?
But
Is it a vinyl
Did
placard?
the owner do that? Yes. Okay. That's an owner. The owner did that. The school did that. So.
Well, if we did it, I'm sure Tim did it.
I'm asking the question. Yes.
So short answer is, if we were able to design the graphic and make it coordinate with the tile, we would make sure it was like put a bit of bigger contrast. Is it hard to tell in person? To me, no, but I know the nuances between like a navy blue and like a dark blue. I do think that ultimately having the board look at it themselves to see if it is a big enough a contrast would be the best way to do it. If it's determined that that needs to be changed differently, it's tile. It's not hard to take out a couple tiles and replace them, and then someone can come back and do the reprint of the dark FAA blue on top of a different blue. My point is, we don't know for sure, other than if you all had your chance to look at it yourself. I think it's noticeably of a contrast, but I can't say if that's uniform across the whole spectrum.
That logo looks nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a vinyl cover, so it'd be easy to take up.
Yes.
Right.
I do know that depending on how many there are, I want to say there are at least a few throughout the hallway, or at least.
There's 12 in it.
I remember Tim saying there was about 12 or 13 on the floor, so we can definitely take better pictures and try to see if it's an issue just there or different spots, but we'll let you know.
Okay. Thanks.
So on the agenda items, when it comes to PR5, that pricing, for context, this was the pricing that kind of was confusing to us last board, where there was a change order on the agenda and it was for $300 something. This was actually one that I forgot to put on the agenda, so that's where this one came from. Long story short, there were 2 classrooms in the high school, but it's a LAVEC space, that initially we were having the electrical contractor route conduit from above ceiling down power poles, but through construction, it was determined those weren't needed. The power poles are, I think, there, but the routing of those lines were not needed to happen. Tim worked with the contractor to make sure that everything was set up right, and to credit back the labor for routing those lines into those power poles, it was about $325 for those 2 classrooms. There are data lines and power lines above ceiling should there need to be replacement or additional lines to be routed down those power poles. And Tim is very aware about where they are. Ultimately, for the contractor not to install them as initially intended, the credit is just for the labor. So 2 classrooms, that's a labor credit, and it's for not routing lines down 2 power poles in 2 classrooms. No questions on that, then PR6, oh, sorry.
Do we actually need those?
The lines themselves. From what I understood from the teacher and from Tim, the answer is no, because the way the other electricals supply throughout the classroom, they have what they need. But should they ever need to, the cables are still above ceiling. They're accessible for a future reroute down the power poles if they're needed.
Okay.
But to my knowledge, the teacher and Tim have figured out.
So you are going to do that?
Sorry.
You are going to do that then?
The contractor stops their work. It's staying above ceiling, and in the future, if it's needed, the teacher or Tim, someone with the district can reroute them down the poles.
Okay,
But no,
okay.
the contractor's not doing that.
It would be Tim, yes.
So with PR6, that is also the Chenal building, or LAVEC project, but this time in the Chenal building. And this is to credit back the contractor from not providing the welding booth, curtain rod, and vinyl curtains, there we go, to the booths. Long story short, it was planned that the district would buy the booths, that the contractor will provide the curtains and the curtain rods to those booths. Turns out that the welding booths themselves will come with them, so there's no need for this contractor to provide them as well. So to refund what was going to be provided to the school by this contractor is $73.53.
Yeah, that's, Mr. Thompson gave us that number.
Yes. But Blaze is going to give a credit for no longer doing that work because it's coming from the school supplier. And the contractor is going to install the booths and these things, they're just not providing the materials, which accounts for about $73.53. So that's where the agenda items stop for the project. And David gave an overview. I made a note about checking on the FFA graphic and making sure that it's a contrast or a way for you all to have a better chance to look at it. Beyond that, I think it's important for you all to know about something that the contractors and Tim have resolved at the Chenal building. It's about a unforeseen natural gas leak that was suspected. And if you can kind of imagine, it goes from, there's an underground gas line that spans the Chenal building, but it also goes to the greenhouse. And somewhere between the detached greenhouse to the, I want to say the hallway doors of the Chenal building, that's where the leak was suspected. And Tim got a hold of Delta Gas and confirmed that they're going to terminate the gas leak that was leaking in that zone, and that Delta Gas is going to replace 16 miles of gas lines in Owingsville, including the high school area, and that should resolve any future gas leaks that were in that area. It's a good thing that we know about it now, because the only thing in the project was to put a new gas meter in, not to touch the actual gas line, but there's no telling how long that minor leak was happening. So there's nothing that the board has to do at this point, because Delta Gas is going to take care of it, and Tim is knowledgeable about how it happened or how it was discovered and what's going to be done to get it addressed. I just want to make sure the board knew that that was a recent discovery that came to our attention this month.
Okay.
That's everything.
Do you have anything else?
Okay. So David reminded me that the stormwater design that the board selected for us to design, we are finalizing the cost opinion for that. The drawings are ready, and we are going to review it with Pax Walker one more time before March. You all get a presentation on what everything is going to be and how much it's going to roughly cost and how that gets integrated to the project that's under construction. My question is, how should we present the design to you all? Are you comfortable with doing a working session presentation? Do you feel that we need to do a closed door session? Do you want it during the regular board meeting in March? How would you want to review the stormwater project?
This was originally tied to some possible litigation, but I think we could do it in the open, but it would still be your decision as a board. I can ask the board after, between sessions, and get back with you. I'll email you, if that's okay.
Yes, that's fine.
Just know it'll be coming your way in March, and just want to make sure we presented it the way that you felt was most appropriate.
I'll get you an answer tomorrow. That'll be okay?
Okay. That's everything that I have, and I think David as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We need to revisit item 5. We left off item 4, setting a date and location for the public hearing. We did not do that.
Thank you. On that date, it takes 2 ads in the newspaper, so you have to have 14 days. And so even if we set it tonight, it'd be no earlier than March 11th. The board is not required to be at this meeting. If you select Mr. Christie as the local hearing officer, he can do it himself. Everyone's more than invited, but it really needs to be a date that he can be there to run, if you so chose him, and I would hope that we would. And so it's really just has to be after March 11th or after, so we can get our 2 ads in the paper. Mr. Detweiler, is there a date that you're aware of that's better than any other?
The week after the 11th, I think Mr. Christie said he's open that entire week.
Week of 11 through?
After the 11th.
Okay, that would be. So we can consider that and set that time in the regular meeting. So that would be March 18th through the 22nd. Or you could choose a date now if you wanted. But it's on the agenda for the regular session.
Eric, you're on the Facility Planning Committee. Is John on it too? Do you all have a preference of your date? Eric?
They don't have to attend. It's a public hearing. The committee is not necessary to attend.
So it's going to be around
I just thought they might want to attend.
Yes. You're correct, Ms. Razor. There.
around the 19th.
It's the 19th. Eric, or John, is that okay with you? The 19th?
But it's not a board meeting.
No.
Because
No, it's not a board meeting.
I'm out that whole week.
No, it's actually just going to be a public meeting. Depending on the amount of public that shows up, it might be a 5-minute meeting. I may have, 2 people show up. But it's just for them to ask questions about the facility plan, a lot like Mr. Reese shared with you this evening. They can have inquiries. He makes note of every bit of that. He sends those back to KDE, what were on people's minds, and then they send it back, and then it'll come back again to this board for final approval.
So we'll set it in the, okay. Okay, item 6, discussion of RFP and advertisement for fiscal year 24 audit service contract and fiscal year 25 through 27 banking services.
I know Ms. Combs doesn't want to come down to be seen, but you're on the next 4 items if you don't mind to come to the board. I want to say, while she's coming down, welcome back, Ms. Combs. She's been on maternity leave with her little fellow, so we're glad to have her back.
So this is just for me to advertise and then send out requests for proposals for banking services and audit services. We do it each year. Banking services every 2 years, audit services usually every year. And I have had 2 auditors reach out and say that they've had some openings for school districts, which is good because we usually can't. It's hard to get any auditors to bid on school districts because they're kind of tired of all of the KDE requirements. So I know for sure we will possibly have 3 audit bids this year. And then banking services, we usually have at least 2. Any questions on those?
No. Item 8, 7, discussion of the tentative March 1st, 2024 staffing allocations and SBDM allocations.
Before you start, in your packets, Ms. Shaw has put a copy of those allocations for you. Go ahead, Ms. Combs.
Okay, so we're just getting approved the tentative preliminary, really, allocations for, so this is talking about for next fiscal year. Usually we do see a decrease in these allocations because we use real-time attendance or enrollment numbers. So Liz pulled them as of a date in February. So that gives you kind of a better idea of how many kids are going to be sitting in the seats next year, although not exact because you can have fluctuation over the summer. Kindergarten is always a wild card. We did decide to do 5 years average instead of, we were doing like closer to 10 years average for kindergarten numbers. So you can see those. I did put what we currently have so you can see how many teachers each building currently has and then what this allocation shows. And I think all of them did decrease. But that doesn't mean that that's going to be what happens next year because we still have a May 1 final allocation. And also, up until students are in the building or even after the building, you all as a board have a right to add positions or create positions. So this is just very preliminary. The SBDM allocations, we get those by taking the ADA, the most recent ADA, which I used the end of month 2 ADA numbers, which is end of September ADA numbers, and then you times that by $100, and that's what each school gets for their supply money. And this is just, preliminary, March 1.
Any questions?
I have a question. I want to know on the elementary schools, we have listed other certified position. Is that just an extra teacher or is that designated as something else?
Yes, which school?
Both elementary schools.
Yes, that's just one additional that we have given in the past. It's not really classified as anything. I think they probably use it as maybe PE or one of the alternate programs, but it's not, they don't have to use it for anything. We just give them that to use as they wish in their allocation.
So as needed? As needed?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Item 8, discussion to add a JAG teacher at Bath County High School.
Thank you, Ms. Combs. Ms. Brandenburg, would you like to come forward?
Hello, you guys. Mr. Evans and I were both invited to preview what a JAG teacher was earlier, about a month ago. We both sat through an informative session about this, and they asked us, what we knew about JAG at that time, and I said it's basically, in my opinion, it was kind of like ROTC. And I had looked into creating ROTC for the high school, having that program. The startup cost for ROTC was $125,000. JAG comes to us, it's basically like the same thing. It's a program that helps kids get jobs, employability skills, speaking skills, things that they need for a career. And they come to us and they tell us, hey, we will give you $40,000 for a teacher. We will supply all the curriculum for the teacher. And so after that, they said they had a spot for us. And I asked Mr. Evans what he thought about it. And together we both thought, well, it's a good idea because they're going to pay for our teacher. We may have to put a little bit of money into it. However, most of it will be paid for by the JAG program. If you look at the slideshow that they sent us, on the first slide, it tells us that it's just a second here, that's a 40-year-old national nonprofit program. It tells how many youth that they serve. And it tells the challenges, so it serves children that are trauma children, that needs that extra help, that have faced life challenges. And also it helps promote graduation. Well, after last year's graduation rate, and even this year we're promoting graduation, it's something that we want to continue because we want to give that gift to our students at Bath County. And then, of course, it tells us about, who is over the JAG Corporation. And it also shows us the board of directors here. And then it shows all the places, the JAG national networks. As you can see, JAG is pretty much all over the United States except for a few states. And then, of course, it gives us about the advantage of having JAG. And JAG is basically just about getting kids ready for employment after high school because we know not all students are going to be going to college after high school, but we do want them to be post-secondary ready in some way. It also gives our students the opportunity to go to DC and participate in leadership. They will present, they'll look at different historical sites, they'll be able to meet with legislators and talk about what students need in today's society. And it goes on to tell us all the different competitions that they can go to, what they're learning. JAG is a project-based learning program. And project-based learning is something that they push with teachers all the time about to engage students in learning that needs to be project-based. And it goes on to tell us, when it was formed in 1993. It tells how many programs there are. It can also be a middle school program as well. Right now, we're just looking into it for the high school. And then it also shows you graduation rate, job rate, all that stuff. If you can see, Kentucky JAG is above the national JAG standard and everything. Graduation rate, job rate, full-time positive outcomes, everything on here is above the national with the Kentucky program. And then it tells about the just different things, employability skills here, and how they meet these 6 competencies that they talk about, and Mr. Evans and I went over that with them. And then it goes, of course, this is middle school competencies. And as you can see here, it talks about here how they work with the Office of Vocational Rehabilitation, and that office helps provide students with jobs. And then it also talks about like how much money they would give us for the teacher. As you see, they would give us $40,000 for a certified teacher. And Mr. Evans and I were assured that the whole program would be provided to that teacher, and that they would come here, they would observe the teacher, they would help the teacher just as same as like we would give that teacher the support that they need. So it would be basically another avenue for our kids to reach that career readiness, but it would be paid for by that program. So it wouldn't be anything pretty much out of our pockets except for maybe insurance and that kind of stuff that teachers get. And of course, these are the partners that partner with JAG. And of course, if you want more information, you can always go to the websites to look at it. I really think it would be a beneficial program for our students. And these are the different places right now in Kentucky that have it. We were on their list, I think, and I might be wrong on this, but I think they said they wanted to add 35 more JAG programs, and we were on their list. And when I talked to Mr. Evans about this, you know, we both agreed that this would be positive for our school, positive for our community, positive for our students. And so in order for us to get this place, we have to decide, do we want the JAG program or not? I did talk to my SBDM about it at our last meeting, and they all agreed that they feel like this would be a move in a positive direction for our students. And that's all the information that they've provided us.
A few more things on that one. It's exactly what it says, is it's preparing kids for the future and jobs and programs. It'll be through an MOA. It's a 1-year MOA. So at the end of this year, if they don't deliver or they don't meet our expectations, if there's any issues, we can cancel. The $40,000 they'll put in, so we'll hire a younger teacher, so the majority of the salary will be covered. And then there's alternate funds we can look at so that it really shouldn't cost the district any money. We take it out of some federal funds or other funds that we have. Okay. Oh, okay. I know that Menifee's doing it, Paris is doing it. Looked like Montgomery on that list, but
Every school I've talked to say they love it, and we have kids enrolling here from the counties that already have it, and the first thing they ask me, do y'all have JAG? Do you guys have ROTC? And of course I have to say no. I would love to be able to tell our students we have something new that we can offer them to help them. One of the questions I did ask the man is, is this a path toward like industry search, dual credit, something like that for our students? And he said right now they are in the process of getting that accomplished. So that would just be another avenue for us when it comes to college career ready and getting our industry certs or dual credits for our students, which count in our accountability.
That sounds like it might be a good program.
It sounds like a wonderful program. I mean, I'm really excited, and I think it's something that would be great to offer our kids.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, discussion of amending the 23-24 school calendar.
Miss Liz Watkins will speak on the calendar.
I had sent you all an email just kind of explaining what had happened. When we amended the calendar and I went back to put that calendar in Infinite Campus, we were short days. It came out to we had 167 student days, and with the traditional calendar, they require us to have 170. So that means we have to go back and amend to get that 170. The reason that happened was because our bank time, I know a lot of people are under the assumption that every day we go a little bit longer to be able to bank that time up, but that is not the case with KDE. Those hours are to be used for early dismissals or hour delays or something like that. The days actually have to be built into our calendar. So Likely, in years previous, the DPP, if we've banked 5 days, we've started with 175 and then ended up with 170 at the end as we use those 5 days that we banked. This year, I think we were a bit confused because we hadn't had teacher planning days previously. This year, we had teacher planning days, then we ended up with the 187 staff days. Then we amended that, and now we've realized this issue with the bank days. So to fix that, I propose that we take the March 18th teacher planning day, the day that we were going to take the day after spring break, which was for the solar eclipse, and then we'll have to bump up our last day of school 1 day to Monday the 20th. But graduation can still fall on the 18th. That does not cause an issue with graduation.
So the long and the short of it, at no fault of Ms. Watkins, it's actually, she's found the errors that had been made previously. So we've had to come back on this. And so I don't like to do that, but it's the thing to do to correct a mistake. And so just like we tell our kids, you know, you make a mistake, that's okay. Learn from it. So we were on the assumption we had 5 bank days, so I took 3, saved 1 to get us out, and then we're told, no, you can't use those days. So we've taken those days, so now we have to put those days back in and take some days back that we took off. So a little confusing, a little embarrassing maybe, but well, it's something that we'll fix and correct, and Ms. Watkins is doing a fantastic job, and the future looks bright, and we've got our variable calendar all set for next year, and it's 100% good to go.
The variable calendar, it won't be an issue at all with that because it's 100% based on hours. And if this year's calendar had been classified as a variable calendar, we would have been able to use the hours that we have. But with it being a traditional calendar, we couldn't change it.
And that just, I know we're almost on 7, but that just goes back to, that's a federal government for you. We're well over our hours, but you can't use them if you call them regular. Oh, but if you call it variable, yeah, you can use all you want. So we weren't allowed to change the title of the calendar, so we had to make this decision.
Do you all have any questions about that?
I think we're good.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Item 10, other business. Item 11, adjourn. I'd say I better go too. Start at 7. Okay. We're going to take a 5-minute break before we start the regular session. Discussion and possible action on tonight's agenda. Pledge of Allegiance and silent devotion. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 4, Student Spotlight, Bath County Middle School.
Good evening. We're really excited to introduce the students we're introducing today. It's been quite a while since, actually before COVID, since we've been able to recognize our junior beta students. And we have two really special ones today that are going to put on a performance for us. But I'm going to let our sponsor, Miss Lexon Gilbert, give us a few more details.
All right. Tonight, BCMS is recognizing two of our 8th graders. I've been a co-sponsor of Junior Beta for 2 years now and have seen the work and dedication they put into their academics and extracurricular activities. Juliana Moore has been clogging with Jamie's Dance Studio since she was 5 years old and is a member of the 4-time National Championship Team Vibe. She is also a member of the Bath County Middle School Drama Club and will be starring in the spring production of Legally Blonde Junior as Elle Woods. Juliana also qualified at the National Beta Convention in Language Arts. Sophie Stevens has been clogging at Jamie's Dance Studio since she was 7 and is a member of the 2023 National Championship Team Quest. She is also a member of the BCMS cheer team, where she was awarded the UCA All-American Cheer Award, and is a member of the Lady Cat softball team, where she primarily pitches. Earlier this year in Lexington, Kentucky, they competed against a multitude of other talented students from across the state and earned their Premier Performer Golden Ticket to perform and learn choreography in Savannah, Georgia this June during the opening ceremony of the National Junior Beta Convention. The Beta theme was a voyage of adventure, so the girls clogged to the song Salty Dog Blues. A salty dog is a sailor who has spent much of his or her life aboard a ship at sea. We are so proud of everything that they have accomplished and wish them luck during their performance this summer. Here is Juliana Moore and Sophie Stevens with their Junior Beta Premier Performer Dance to Salty Dog Blues.
Thank you, girls. Very good.
We do have some certificates for these young ladies. They're excellent students. They're involved in extracurriculars, and they're just very dedicated, as you can see. So if you girls will come up, we do have a certificate for Juliana Moore, and we actually have two for her. As Miss Gilbert mentioned, she also placed in language arts as the state winner. And then Sophie Stevens. Thank you.
Cecil, let's get them. You got a good shot? They came, did that dance. Let's get them in the paper. For superintendent communication, I'll try to be brief. I'm just going to be honest, from here to November, most communications, I'll be discussing the nickel and just sharing some information. So I'm not going to go into great detail, but again, I'm going to say, if you'll go to our webpage, we have a tax calculator on there that's set up. So anybody can put their property valuation in there and see immediately what they will pay. The other thing I want to say is the census, if you'll go and put in U.S. Census, just Google U.S. Census, Bath County, it'll bring up all the information you need to know. And one of the things that is really a nice thing, it'll show medium homes. So the medium home, it used to be 87.6. That number has came up to 101,000. So median means 50% of the houses are above 100, the property's above 100,000, 50% is below it. So if you take 100,000, no matter what the rate is, it's very easy to do the math. So if it's a 54.1 rate, it's $541. So that's what we currently are at. So if you have $100,000 property valuation, this year you were at 541. When we took the nickel, that drops to the 4% until the nickel passes or fails. And that number in here is 57.8. So this year, if you had $100,000, you'll have $578 that you either have paid or will be paying. The difference between the nickel and the 4%, it drops. So the only thing that's recallable is that difference between the 4 and the nickel. That's 3.9 cents. And so if you have already paid and you have $100,000, the only difference between the nickel, paying the extra on the nickel, is $39. That's $3.25 a week. So the difference in that $39 is if the nickel passes, we get $477,000 from here in perpetuity from the state that goes into our building fund. That allows our bonding, which they've already equalized the nickel, they've already passed that, so we know it's going to happen. So our personal bonding went from $4 million to $9 million. So if they pass that nickel, then we're looking, instead of 28, we'll be looking at $35 million. So for an extra $39, sound like one of those commercials, for only $39.95. But that $39 will get us all the funds we need to renovate this middle school, to rebuild this middle school, to put the canopies in out at Crossroads and OES. And over time, as those are paid down, it will fix all the building issues that we have. There will be funds for there. So I will start as we get closer to the summer. I'll start having meetings where people come in. We just sit down, talk about it. I'll share everything I can. We'll start putting some things on Facebook. But I just want people to understand the only way this middle school gets saved is if that nickel passes or a miracle happens. And so the nickel, I can guarantee, is doable. Only God can tell me about the miracle. So I just encourage everyone to hear what I'm saying, think it through, and rationally realize this is what Bath County needs, this is what our students need, what our staff needs. So I appreciate it very much. Thank you all.
Discussion and possible action approving the following items. A, January 29th, 2024 minutes. B, January financial statement. C, claims. D, superintendent expenditures. E, travel. F, use of facility. G, review of all monthly financial reports of all funds. H, pay bills through February 29th, 2024.
I'll make the motion to approve 6A through 6H.
Motion by Carla to approve items 6A through 6H, second by Eric. Any discussion? All in favor of motion made by Carla, items 6A through 6H, vote by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. No. Motion passed. 5-0. 7, any public comments? Do we have none? 8, request for reinstatement of 3% tax collection rate for the Bath County Sheriff's Office.
Sheriff Stewart and Judge Executive McKenzie are here this evening to present.
How are y'all doing today?
Good?
Doing good?
Yes?
Did y'all get the letter that I sent you off? Okay. Hey, what we're here for today, the maximum rate is 4% on the tax collection of the money for the state. I'm asking for 1% of it back. The total amount on that is for the 1% is like $32,000 some dollars difference. That's almost a deputy's salary for me. I'm working bare bones just to keep people working here in this county, and probably losing another one in the next 2 weeks. I can't pay enough money to keep them. In Round County's offering $22, $23, $24 an hour. You look at Bath County here, you pay $18 an hour. They're gonna go where the money is. I need some money to help keep these officers here in the county. I mean, I ain't asking for a lot, but if there's any way that y'all could help me out on this, I would appreciate it. I talked to Round County today, they get to 4%. I talked to Montgomery County, they get 3%. And I talked to Menifee and Morgan, and they all get 4%. Bath County, now Montgomery County and the schools got together and they had a vote on it, and they give the 3%. But now all the rest of them's at 4%. And every tax district that we have in the county, there's 10 of them. All 10 of them agreed to give us the 4%, except for the school. And they cut it from 4 to 2%. And I'm asking that y'all consider giving back the percentage rate on the taxes.
Let me add something to that too, Jesse. When I came into office, they were paying their officers $13 an hour. Since then, we've given them 2 raises. We went to $15 an hour. Just recently passed to $18 an hour, which will go into effect March the 1st. We have some good deputies here. We have some deputies that are really fighting the drug issues that we have here in the county. We also pay $16,628.90 on 3 of your resource officers that serve in the different schools. That is their like their Social Security, medical, workers' comp, those sort of things. So also the physical court pays for all the rock at all the school turnarounds. I'm not sure if all the board members realize that we do that. you know, we're all in this together, you know, for the safety of our school, the safety of our communities, and just the 13 months that I've been in office, working on the 14th month, I don't know how many turnovers we've had in deputy sheriffs. And it's just simply the fact that we don't have the money to pay that. This will greatly help. If it wasn't for the physical court, you would have a tax collector here, is all you would have. We're a little under 300,000 helping the sheriff's department.
If it wasn't for them, the last few months of the year, I would be the only one working. They pay my bills.
Yep. He does it, we carry him, he gets from the state, what, March the 1st?
Yeah.
And so the physical court carries him through that period of time. You know, the sheriff's department needs this money, and I humbly ask the board to consider of putting this back on. And I know you can look at it from that side of the table and says, well, this could hurry a teacher. And I understand that. You know, if you want law enforcement in the county, and like I said, he's got some good deputies right now that is working hard, but we're going to have to pay them to keep them. So we went from 13 to 18 in the short few months I've been here, but the physical court's about maxed out. And this would be a boost that would help continue to support our deputies. Any questions? You have anything else, Justin?
You know, we appreciate, and we couldn't go without your all's deputies in our county, which helps our kids when they're on the roads, helps our community, and we live in the community as well, and you help us. And I understand, you know, I don't want you to think that we don't hear you. I hear you. Money, we're scraping at money too. That's the reason why, you know, we're trying to get this nickel to go through. I mean, it's for buildings, not payroll, but at the same time, that 33,000, it would pay for a part of that program that we're trying to get, that JAG program for our kids.
That JAG program, by the way, is a good program.
Yeah.
I worked with disadvantaged youth for 18 years and got them job ready, and that's a good program.
Yeah, and you know, we all want to help everybody, you know what I mean? Our job is to help the programs here for these kids. You understand that. I understand your all's position too. Money is just scarce. Because of today's inflation. I mean, it's out of every one of our control. There's not one thing we can do about it. But that 33,000, and I'm only one person, so other people up here can, you know, vote however they want to. I just don't see how we can do it. I just don't. I don't know how. Is it possible that the funds that from tax collection, would they go up? Would they get more money then? By property tax?
Property tax?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but you all will as well. I'd like to trade checks with you all. We're trying to operate the county on a lot less money.
Does the occupational tax fund that we, you know, have gotten, I saw that article in the paper, will any of that be able to help fund since that's a county fund?
Well, that goes to general fund for, you know, whatever that we need. That has upped, under my administration, we are looking at people that's working in this county and making sure that they're paying their occupational tax.
Yeah, because that was a $300,000 just for the last
yeah,
quarter?
but of course, that 50,000 increase that we discussed last fiscal court meeting, that's over a period of this time last year till now.
So it was for the year?
It was over the year.
Not for the quarter?
Increase. No, it was for the quarter, but that was compared to this time last year.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you all are doing a good job.
Thank you. But we, you know, I mean, this is a little bit of money to give that would help the sheriff's department a whole lot. And like I said, we're paying over $16,000 for the fringe benefits for 3 of your officers at the school, plus we're purchasing and giving the school system all the rock. And I wish I had a figure on that, but I don't, but I will in a few months, because we're now tracking that, of actually how much that we've spent, you know, with just the turnaround at the rocks. And I think he can, you know, give us an idea that we give them a lot of rock. We spend about $20,000 a month just on rock. Not for the school, but total. But the school gets what they need out of it.
And I would like to say one more thing. I have been over backwards for this school system to get you school resource officers that is qualified and that is suitable to do the job. I got you 4 of them. You've got more than I've got on the road. That's all I want to say.
I have a question I want to know, and you may not know off the top of your head, but what is your collection percentage on property tax?
As of right now, 87%.
Okay. And will that pretty much
I'm
be,
required to have 90 by the end of next month.
you think you will meet the 90%
Made it
then?
every year, yes.
Okay, because that's really good. And then if we do have the nickel tax and that gets passed, will that help you all that much?
If the nickel tax is passed, will that help you all that much? Yeah. I'm not sure the numbers
I'm not
on
sure
that.
the numbers on that.
Well, I'm not either, but it would be some then.
Yeah, probably some, but I don't know no numbers.
Because that would increase the property tax that you all would collect, so you'd be collecting.
You know, you take a new vehicle, you used to pay maybe $20,000, $25,000, now it's 60 or 70. You're running the cruisers up and down the county roads, the fuel bill, you know, I mean, we pay the fuel bill for him. I mean, this sheriff's department is strapped financially. They have no money to operate with. And this
And
is.
if you read the statute, and I don't want to do that, all I've got to do is collect taxes, serve papers, and work the court. I don't got to get out here and beat up and down this road every day and arrest people and stuff. I do that for the community, but I don't have to. I do that just because of the community. That's the reason I do that. But I am strapped, and I'm with money, bad.
And then, you know, the surrounding counties, I mean, they're giving 4%, except for Montgomery County.
They give 3. We've talked all of them today.
And that was through a deal that they got worked out.
Well, gentlemen, first thing everybody needs to know is I am not the board. I'm the superintendent. I'm the secretary. I have no vote. I have no say. These 5 people surround me make the decision. Not being from Bath County, since I've gotten here, I'll just say that I have fought tooth and nail for this school, for this faculty. Our teachers are 160 out of 171 in pay. I was 163 out of 171 in superintendent pay. But I'm an all tides boat kind of guy, you know, the rising tide. I believe that we should all be looking out for each other, that we should all be doing what's best for everybody. I hear what you're saying. I don't have a vote in this, but I hear what you're saying. But I also know that we're looking at people that have also said, I'm not in favor of the nickel tax. This board doesn't know that, but I know that. And so why can't, and I can't speak for them, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, these kids deserve this. Our community deserves this. There seems to be a disconnect when I got here from things in the past that I'm not related to. I think there's some healing's got to go on. I don't know how that works. You know what I mean? I don't know what the issues are. My finance director will tell you, this is not a good thing or whatever. But if it were me and I could make it happen, I would. But it needs to go around. You know, you all need to support us. We need to support you. The community needs to come together, support everybody, the schools, the facility.
Where have we not supported the school?
You have done a wonderful job. I will not, what you're talking about, the rock and everything you're talking about, that's what I'm saying. Mr. Detwaller's our transportation director. I don't have an issue. Mr. Stewart's done a
How
great
many $100 checks do I write before I was ever in politics? Bath County Little League, Bath County Baseball, Bath County Football. I've always supported this school, and I will continue.
Yes, sir, and I'm not, please don't take me as accusing anything. What I'm saying is, I want us all to be one united group. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm only saying this in the fact that I don't have a vote. I hear what you're saying. I hear where you're coming from. And it was put on the agenda tonight, not as a vote, just as a request to hear you speak. So if they want to discuss this, Ms. Razor has, as board chair, they could call it to a vote tonight, or they could put it on next month's. I don't know what your timeline is there, Mr. Stewart, but tonight it was just put on there to allow you to come and share what you were asking for. And so they don't have to take a vote if they don't want. I'm just saying, I support you all. I support you in every way I can. Even if the board chooses not to do the 2 or 3, I still want to try to find ways that we can help each other. I appreciate our SROs. I appreciate what you all are doing on turnarounds. If you don't know about turnarounds, that's a big deal, because we drive up hollers and we got to turn the bus around and they come drop rock. So I'm not trying to influence our board either. They got a tough decision to make. I'm just saying, wherever there's discord, we may not agree on something, but I want to start setting a new relationship, at least from the superintendent's office. We'll start there and hopefully grow. I'm working with the community. If you're on Facebook, there's a lot of people that, are pushing back, but simply just want a building over here that our kids can get in. That's all I want. I want the kids at Crossroads to stop walking in the rain. So we want the same things. You're wanting men to cover the beat. You want to pay your people a decent wage. That's what I'm doing, but we have no industry here that's bringing in a lot of money, so we're having to ask for a 4% tax, and I don't want to tax people. I'm 100% against it, but I don't have an option. It's either that or let our people become the 171st. Our teachers are leaving just like your sheriffs, your deputies are leaving, because they can go to Nicholas County and make $5,000 more dollars. They can go to Montgomery and make 4. They can go to Round and make 3. So that's what I'm saying. I want Bath County to be the best it can be in every facet. And so however we get there, we get there. If this board decides not to do that, that's a decision, but I still think that there's room for us to find some common ground somewhere along the lines. Just like if you disagree with the nickel, there's still room to grow and find common ground. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's just my 2 cents. I apologize, Ms. Race, for speaking out, but it's just on my heart. Just want to share it with you. Got a great community here, got great people, and and I see, but it's just like me. I'm standing here in the middle, and I see both sides of the issue. I see them plain and clear. I see the same side on the nickel. I see why people don't want it, but I know why we need it. So I'll stop talking here, but just let you know, it was put on as a request for a statement. So action be up to you if you want to take action or if you want to address it at the next. But thank you all, and I'll be glad to talk to you afterwards as well if you'd like to speak.
Would the board like to call this to a vote tonight, or would you like to think about it and put it on the agenda next month? Any preferences?
I'd say do it tonight. I make a motion to reinstate the 3% tax collection rate for the Bath County Sheriff's Office.
I'll second.
Motion has been made to request the reinstatement of the 3% tax collection rate for the Bath County Sheriff's Office by John, second by Brenda. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Yes. We didn't give them any money. voted wrong then. I didn't understand it.
I wouldn't do it, I wouldn't change it after they walked out the door, but that's an attorney question. So,
I voted wrong. I voted yes. To give them to reinstate, so that was, isn't that what we have now? I voted wrong. Hmm. Item 9, discussion and possible action to approve the Bath County District Facilities Plan as presented by the Bath County Local Planning Committee and as approved by the Kentucky Department of Education Facilities.
I'll make the motion.
Have a motion by Eric,
Second.
second by John. Any discussion?
Yes, we need to set a date for that, for the March 19th around that time?
number 11.
It's on down.
Oh, okay, no.
So I have a motion made by Eric, second by John. All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 10, discussion and possible action to approve Mr. Paul Christie, field representative for the Kentucky School Plant Managers Association as hearing officer for the Bath County Board of Education. Motion by Carla, second by Eric, to approve the Bath County District, to approve Mr. Paul Christie as representative for the Kentucky School Plant Managers Association as hearing officer for the Bath County Board of Education. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Discussion and possible action to set a date and location for the district facilities local public hearing.
One of the requirements that had to be after 5:30, just FYI, and Mr. Christie said he could do March 19th, Tuesday, March 19th at 5:30, if the board so chooses.
I'll make
March 19th,
make that motion for March 19th at 5:30
we're at
at the high school,
It'll be right here.
at the
here at the
auditorium.
auditorium.
Just to make sure that there is no conflict of anything going on that night, correct?
Mr. Holder, do you know if there's anything on that evening? Thank you, sir.
Auditorium is available that day.
Thank you.
It's at 5:30. Do I have a second? Motion by Eric, second by Carla. It's March 19th at 5:30 in the afternoon here at Bath County High School Auditorium for the date and time for the district facilities plan local hearing. All in favor signify by saying yes.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action to approve the COP for PR-05 credit for power to rooms 214 and 215.
I'll make that motion to approve the COP for PR-05 credit for power to rooms 214 and 215 in the amount of $325.
Motion by Carla to approve the COP for PR-05, credit for the power to rooms 214 and 15. Second by John. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Discussion and possible action to approve RFP and advertisement for fiscal year '24 audit service contract. We'll go back.
She skipped one.
We'll go back.
Motion to approve the RFP and advertisement for fiscal year '24 audit service contract.
She'll come back.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Carla to approve the RFP and advertisement for FY '24 audit service contract. Second by Brenda. Any discussion? I'm going back. All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Item 13, discussion and possible action to approve the COP for PR-06 welding booth accessories credit.
I make the motion to approve the CIP for PR-06 welding booth accessories credit in the amount $7,353.
Second.
Motion by Carla and second by Eric, to approve the COP for PR-06 welding booth accessories credit. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 15, discussion and possible action to approve RFP and advertisement for fiscal year '25 through '27 banking services.
I make that motion to approve the RFP and advertisement for fiscal year '25 through '27 banking services.
I'll second. Motion by Carla to approve the RFP and advertisement for fiscal year '25 through '27 banking services. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Item 16, discussion and possible action to approve the tentative March 1st, 2024 staffing allocations.
Motion to approve the tentative March 1st, 2024 staffing allocations.
Second.
Motion by Carla, second by Eric, to approve the tentative March 1st, 2024 staffing allocations. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Item 18, discussion and possible action to approve the MOA to add a JAG teacher at Bath County High School.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Brenda, a second by John, to approve the MOA to add a JAG teacher at Bath County High School. Item 17, discussion and possible action.
Vote.
We gotta vote.
Too fast. Any discussion on item 18? All in favor of approving the MOA to add the JAG teacher at Bath County High School signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Item 17, discussion and possible action to approve the tentative March 1st, 2024 SBDM allocations.
I'll make that motion to approve the tentative March 1st, 2024 SBDM allocations.
Motion by Carla, second by John, to approve the tentative March 1st, 2024 SBDM staffing allocations. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Item 19, discussion and possible action to amend the 23-24 school calendar.
Second.
Motion by Carla, second by Eric, to approve the amended 2023-2024 school calendar. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Item 20, any other business?
Yes. We need to go back to number 2.
Go back to number 2.
I need a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Eric, second by Carla, to approve action on tonight's agenda. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying yes. Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any other business? We good? Motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn by Barbara, second by Eric. Good to go.